Have you ever tried drinking a hot beverage with a non-dominant hand? It's precarious. Edgar sent these. I like the Miatas. I'm not wild about this shot just because the fence. Okay, so the car is pretty sharp. First of all, this is sharp, but it's overexposed. It's a little too blue. What I'm sensing is image degradation. Is maybe this is like a crop of a larger image. So maybe if we saw more of the frame, it would even give us more sense of speed, and we wouldn't notice some of that. But right now, this image is a little too overexposed and a little too bluish. And then if you can find yourself in a position where you don't have this fencing, which is always tough with safety at racetracks, but I think your panning is really good. And then we've got these two Miatas. They look so happy, which I love that about Miatas. Headlights up. Yeah, I guess I just want to see a little bit wider frame, maybe a little more room at the edges. I like that they're both sharp. It's not like super dramatic aperture drop off, so I'm going to give you some credit for that because I think a lot of people would, you've already got your camera at f4 or f2.8 and you're not going to change it or whatever. So I think your aperture is good for capturing these two cars. So that said, I said go a little wider. Maybe we keep the square and maybe we just bump it over to the right. So give us a little more space here, a little less space here. If we chopped it before the center cap, personally, I think that would help. Just one less distracting element for you to read that's not really the focal point. I think the focus is kind of these two mouths and eyes of these cars and kind of showing the differences and the similarities. I've looked at a billion Miatas in my life, and I've never really seen them lined up in such a way where you see how similar that inlet is. So on second look, yeah, I like what you've chosen to focus on. And like I said, I don't know if it was a choice or if it was an accident, but what's the word? Not having the impulse to do like an f2.8 and just totally lose the second car. So both cars are nice and sharp. So really cool. And again, a CPL would help with this glass and kind of bringing back that hood from the reflection. So thank you so much, Edgar. All right, James Aston. Cool name. We've had an Enzo last name. We've got an Aston last name. Olds 442. I shot one of these recently. I wish that the trunk was closed. I love this glare, this sunspot, and I like your colors here. Great crop. Great badge thing. I wish the trunk was closed, but maybe that wasn't possible. But this is a nice shot. This one, I think your framing is good. Your background is straight. It's the staircase is a little bit bothering me, and so I think I'm gonna guess that maybe when you were lining up the shot or setting up the shot, you were going for like, I'm gonna get the reflection in this puddle. Maybe I'm speculating. I'm saying maybe you saw the puddle and you thought, I'm going to get a reflection of the puddle. When I think now, easy for me, couch observer, quarterback, whatever the term is, it's easy for me to say, oh, the thing to focus on is kind of the similarity of the yellow of these wheel centers and the yellow of this staircase. And so I would ignore the puddle. I'm saying this now, again, in hindsight. I would ignore the puddle. I would move the truck 15 feet forward. So the staircase is totally behind it, and we kind of have it as like a background object that's not obscured. I think that would be interesting. I think it would be interesting to have that staircase behind the truck. You see the similarity in color between the wheel centers and the staircase. Maybe it wouldn't work at all, but that's what I'm thinking. Good exposure, good edit. This is always a tricky kind of background because it is really busy, and it's an interesting in its own right background, but it can be tough because you've got a lot of dark and grungy surfaces and visuals to fight. So I think you did good here. But yeah, that staircase, I think just having something that bright and attention grabbing that's in the background and intersecting with the car is is something I would try to avoid. And maybe if the truck was in front of this and this was still in the frame, it would be like, oh, why am I looking at the truck when there's this bright yellow shiny staircase? So maybe my impulse is wrong, but I think it would have been something worth trying. So thank you so much, James. Aside from anything else, what do we see between these two shots? They're both front quarter shots of Mustangs. One of these is working a lot better. And I'm not talking about lighting or anything, but just composition, just perspective-wise. This one looks like a longer focal length. We're also straight, like it's aligned with the horizon. We're not super low to the ground. We're not super high, but everything is more or less level. You know, you can tell from these verticals that we're pretty much shooting straight up and down. And then we look at this one. Maybe this is a similar focal length, but this perspective, it's we're kind of pointed down weird. We're kind of, I don't know. So we'll get to this one. This one, I like the shot. This like almost like Mistachrome, you would say. You would have said, but it's this kind of colored shift matte wrap is pretty cool. It photographs really well. It's fighting this fence is red. It's really bright, and it's kind of fighting with the car. But I think the way that the car is framed, the amount of space we have around it, the impact, the punch of the color, it's softly lit. You can see from the shadows. It's a kind of a nice diffused light, but still sunny. The sun is coming from back here, so it's a nice sun angle. This is a good angle to capture the car with regards to sun direction. And then you compare to this, it's really dark. I think what's not working also is that all the light is coming from the right side of the frame, aside from the little bit of light coming from these artificial lights. All the light's coming from the right side of the frame, and then we're on the right side of the frame. So maybe if the car was repositioned, there might be an angle where it catches more light and we can see more of the form of the car. But this is a tough shot, and it's a really tough location. The only thing that is brightly lit are these columns and the ceiling. So it might be a situation where we bring in some artificial light, or we shoot from in here, shoot outside, and try to get kind of a silhouette situation, kind of show the shape, show the light, shooting into the light source, which is out here, I believe. So thank you so much, Jared. Laurent Crestani sent these. These are incredible shots. He emailed this. He shoots for Top Marks, which he sent these. They're all incredibly stunning. I told him he should be doing the lessons, not me. But I will do my due diligence and look at these photos. And I mean, let's mostly talk about what makes them so great. So there's so much in here. I can still nitpick. This is my favorite, just because I love these Vipers. I love this lighting. Like, it's just so cool. The shadows it's casting. Again, we've got a cool, like, framed perspective. Like, just the size of the car in the frame. There's so much visual interest, and it just really grabs you. I love the darkness. I love the starkness of the light, and just the color on the car. And this is a fantastic perspective for this car, and it's arresting. You would say it's very arresting as the viewer, because you don't see this car from this perspective very often. So, really love this. What else? And we've got a Formula One car. It looks like it's lit in like a softbox situation. Absolutely, great, beautifully done, perfect studio shot. M4 convertible, beautiful mountain scene. All right, so I'm gonna start tearing you down, Laurent. I'm just kidding. But the windows are up, which is kind of weird, and then also the roof. I don't like the roof and window line being kind of directly adjacent to this tree line here. So that is a small thing. The other thing is that this bit of dirt, like if we were maybe 1 foot higher, sorry, 0.3 meters higher, I think it would help with both of those issues. I think the windshield would be below that tree line, and then this tire would not be blocked by that bit of dirt. But beautiful exposure, amazing scene, and I really love this highlights on the side of the car. It's a black car, one of the most difficult to capture, and this is, when it's done right, it's one of the best to capture. So you're making this car look really good. Here we've got a 911 Cabrio in a field. Again, I'm going to say the only thing I don't like is that the tires are kind of blocked by this grass, and there's not a lot that can be done about that except get higher, and you might have to get more than a foot higher. So that would be a different shot. That's just me, like, focus on dumb little things. But this is obviously a spectacular shot, beautiful car, really dramatic lights, and insane background. Just, but somehow still not distracting. We are focused on the car. It has lots of room around it in the frame, and this is a great perspective for the car. This is like my favorite 911 perspective. You're emphasizing the rear, showing that width and the power plant side. I've got Aston Martin DB12 on a windy road, and as I've said earlier, the only thing that's kind of weird is, like, it looks like this was a driving shot, but the car is parked. And I don't know what you do about that. I mean, I guess it's not really bothering me here too much. Look at just all the subtle contours in the hood and how well exposed and captured it is. Obviously, Laurent knows to use a polarizer, and then we've got a beautiful, like, morning dew on the horizon there. So stunning shot. This is a indoor shot, lit, and we can see this light source. That's so cool. Just this low perspective. We've got this very intricate roof, and we see the light. And this can't be the light source for all of this. I think. I don't think this bumper would be so well lit if it was lit by that one light, but it's totally believable and very cool. I guess I want to see, like, a little more orange in the color. Maybe it's everything is so blue. The orange almost looks a tad muted, but yeah, I don't know. I love the turned wheel, this kind of gritty floor, reflection in here. Yeah, I don't know. And there's even little, like, particles and stuff. I don't know. This is just fantastic. I did receive these photos, like, months ago. I've been excited to talk about them, and yeah, they are just really, really good. All of these are so different too. I mean, just different locations, time of day, everything totally different. Really, really, really good stuff. And we got this 997, similar dewy meadow. I like the raised perspective, so there's not even any trees kind of intersecting with the car, which would not be the end of the world, especially in a nice dewy setting like this. That would still be really good. But the elevated perspective really gives you a sense of the landscape, the shape of the car. And we've also got nice highlights on the car. I guess one thing that's weird to me is the wheel is turned like the ever so slightest amount. So I think if the wheel was turned more, or if it was straight, I think that would work better for me. But I'm getting into really tiny nitpicky stuff. And then last one, I don't know what this car is. I love this scene. I love the shot. I love these cacti here, framing as a framing device. Yeah, that's another thing. Is just different lenses. You know, these are a lot of different focal lengths. This is kind of I don't know. I would guess like 35 to 50. This one's tighter. This one's pretty tight. This is a little bit on the wider side. This is a pretty wide angle shot, and it's just as great. We've got so much of this fantastic background that we want to include. I love the mix here. Love these shots. Love your work, Laurent. Thank you so much for sending those in. I hope everyone can appreciate and get something from seeing this kind of work and what makes it so exciting and cool. And that's not to say that there haven't been like really incredible photographers sending stuff in, and I know that I've touched on some that I really like and was really excited about, but this, like, as just a selection, is just a real treat. So thank you so much for sending those in, Laurent. I really appreciate that. And if your name is pronounced in a different way, I'm sorry, because I think I said it like 15 times the wrong way. Okay, Kurt K sent these shots of this pretty rad Thunderbird. I love this location here. This one, not as crazy about the location. Okay, this is all a little dark. I think this, we're on like the shade side of the building. It looks like the sun might be behind this building, and the building is straight. The building is level. The ground is not. So the car is at a dramatic angle. This one, we've got like a rest, place with a bunch of signs. I don't know what you call it. You call it Bob's Gasoline Alley. That's what you call it. So, and then this one is like a vintage service station. These are all, parking the car in front of a place. So they're all kind of doing the same thing. This one, what makes this interesting is that you found a place that is not the obvious, lack of a better term, tourist trap. This is not, roadside attractions. This is a scene where you thought, this looks really cool, this looks really industrial, and I'm going to shoot the car, get a long lens, have this depth of field, have this vast background, have this depth and layers to the image. So hopefully, I'm not reading too much into this, hopefully this is the most recent, and this is showing how you've grown and improved as a photographer and as choosing locations, which is such a big part of photographing cars. So I think this is really showing stepping up to the next level of better camera, better lenses, better location, perspective, and everything. So we're going to talk about this shot, and you've got really, really rich, shallow depth of field here. We've got this cool, like, industrial, bridge setting. The only thing is, it's a harsh time of day because it looks like pretty high overhead sun blowing out the background. But your car is in the shade, which is much nicer. Midday sun is very, very unflattering to a shiny black car. So being in the shade here is really helping you out. That was a smart choice. And it's also solid shade. You can see this kind of like stippling, like where we've got some sunspots, but having the car in the shade without any like random spots kind of interrupting that shade on the surface of the car is helping you. So we get like a nice reflection here. I would want to warm this up a little. The shade tends to make things cooler, especially with like auto white balance. So I would want to warm it up a little bit. And then if you could come back here and do this at, sunset or near sunset or hour before or 15 minutes after, I think you get some really dramatic shots. Great spot here. And I think there's a lot of potential, and I think you're on the right track. So thank you so much, Kurt, for sending those in. All right, Ismail sent these two shots. This might be not a Fiesta. I don't know. I love the rain here, and I love the green, and I love how the ground is kind of getting these reflections from the headlights. This is a nice shot, really well framed. It's a little on the magenta-y side. And then, I don't know, these, I think maybe whatever you did with the color, these kind of cut ends of the logs are like really saturated and kind of jumping out at me. So I would maybe kind of darken those, like take out some color, take out some brightness on just like these log ends. They just don't sort of fit. It's such a bright orange there. That's the only thing that's jumping out at me. I like everything else. I like how you set up the shot. It would be nice to maybe see a little bit of detail in this wheel. Not go over the top, but we've got some black surfaces that have some lighting, that have some light shining on them. So I think we could brighten up that wheel a little bit, maybe the back wheel or the side of the car just a bit, make this even stronger. But I dig this shot. And then this one, what a stunning scene. This looks like a painting. I would want to use that circular polarizer, like I always say. And then again, like I said, I think earlier or last week, I don't know, but we're not totally straight on for the car. So either be straight on or be not straight on and have the car at an angle. But if you're just off by a little bit, it's kind of weird. And the easiest way to tell is just looking at the front to rear tire ratio and how much of the opposite side tires can we see. That back tire on the left, we see some of it, and on this side, we don't see any of it. So if you can match those, or there might be another way where you look at the mirrors or you look at the greenhouse. You look at, can I see side glass or something? But beautiful edit, beautiful tones and everything. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. What a fantastic place. Very beautiful. Thank you so much, Ismail. Okay, this is from Romano, and his name is on the car. Rust Bucket. Some cool textures. So this is a light painted shot of a car, and you've got some cool like light painting artifacts here. This fan, this fan is amazing. It's just such a cool antique. As light painting goes, I think this was technically really well done. I especially like how we've got just some nice detail on these black wheels. Everything's very even, very nicely done. We see some great details on the car. What I would like to see maybe is something more organic, still light painted, but maybe if it kind of looks like we've got this crusty car in this scene with this amazing old fan. So if you could believe, look at this light, look how orange it is, look how like dim it is, and you look at this and you kind of hear like a buzzing, that sound. So it's almost like I kind of want to see a scene that's lit by that, just a really long exposure. Or if you're light painting tool, if you lit the car not as brightly and evenly, if it was kind of like you had this kind of cast, this orange cast coming from that light, I think that would be just kind of a really interesting scene. I'm describing something different. You light painted the car and you did it very proficiently. Some weird kind of brightening there. You were light painting the full car proficiently. I guess I just want something that I would like to see, something that sits a little more organically into this scene and make this scene a little bit more of a part of the shot. And maybe I'm describing something totally different. But yeah, well done. Thank you so much, Romano. Matthew Levias sent this. What I like is that we're not at eye level. There's not too much distraction around. There's not like, people in the way or something. We're really close to these edges. We could probably use a circular polarizer on the windshield to take down some of that glare. There's a tree in a not amazing spot, although it's not standing out too much because it's almost the same color as this rock wall. And then I touch on this sometimes, but like when there's a word in the image like that, I think that's like kind of the first thing you read. You look at that and you just want to read it, and it kind of takes your eye away. So I don't know what this was for, but I would, if there was a possibility of just like cloning that out, I probably would. We got like a weird sign kind of intersecting the tail. It's a tough situation when I don't know if you put the car here or if the car was here and you came upon it and shot the photo, but there might have been some interesting cropping opportunities, especially this green grass and the blue, like they sit really cool. So I think just a crop like this, the tire, the wing, and then into the vegetation, I think that would be pretty cool to see. So maybe that's something you can try. Maybe it's something you did try and you didn't send it because you just wanted to send one. But I really appreciate it, Matthew, and thanks for sending that in. Michael Cleer. I've never seen a roof decorated in such a way. It's like it's very mesmerizing. I don't know what the focal point of this is. I think it's the roof of the Miata, which is a very worthy focal point. The paint on this car is insane looking. I really like it. But then we've got all this back here, and there's this huge gap here. So I kind of, if it's a crop, if we're looking at the roof, focusing on the roof, I'd kind of want to crop some of that out. And if we're showing the scene, if we're showing the full scene, like look how many of these dramatically modified cars there are here together, I would want to maybe get lower, kind of shrink this gap between here and here, and kind of show a little bit wider expanse. I think it'd been interesting to see the front of the car. There can't be that much more that's sticking into, sticking out of frame. So it might have been cool to include that. So this one I'm liking more. As far as I can tell, you are dead center, and I don't know if there's a polarizer, but your windshield is nice and dark. We've got the Titanic in the background. Again, this is like me just being weird about stuff, but if I could crop or frame it or obscure so I couldn't see just kind of these normie cars in the background, I would try to do something, or like get higher up. Okay, I've stood on a rental car before. I wouldn't stand on my own car, but I've stood on like the trunk of like a rental Ford Focus so I could get a taller perspective. But if we were like, 4 feet higher from here, I know that's a tough ask. You probably don't have a ladder with you, but if we were higher and you could be shooting down and all that would be behind the car would be 40 feet of pavement behind it, that could be cool. Or as is, maybe just cropping on, I can't do this quickly, but cropping on kind of like part of the front bumper would be cool too. What's next? All right, this is an interesting shot. It is, I'm loving the glow. I love the glow of the sun hitting the side of the car. It's a very pretty environment and time of day and everything. And this guy is washing it. It would be cool in addition to this, also to see some shots of his face, see him doing this, see some, him reflected in the side of the car as he's cleaning it. Even if you're over here and you're shooting into the sun's pretty low. I can tell using my detective skills. If you were shooting from kind of where he is or behind him, you get that spray lit by the sun. It'd be really crazy looking. So that would be some cool stuff to also try to get. But these are nice edits, by the way. Nice colors, nice exposures. Yeah, keep going. Thank you so much, Michael. Pat Becker. Like, my eye goes to this one. Just think this like vegetation foreground stuff is really nicely done and just kind of grabs me. I like the layering. I think everyone watching this we know the one thing. We know what Kevin likes. But let's start from the beginning. This a little bit brightly exposed. We could go darker, crop out maybe yourself out of the front here, or shoot a little longer lens and then you wouldn't be reflected. But it's kind of like what I say when you shoot interiors is when you shoot a black interior, the camera is going to say, oh, so this isn't supposed to be super dark, so I'm going to brighten everything. If you're shooting like a black car this close up, it might just auto expose to be brighter because it's thinking, well, you couldn't possibly want this to be black. And so as a result, this is a little bit overexposed. And then as a result, we've got some like color fringing here where it's blown out on the ring. So if we underexposed this, maybe cropped it a little, I think it would be on the right track. I do love the grill, all the highlights on those, hexagon shapes, whatever, cutouts. Here we got some more color fringing, but it is cool steering wheel detail. I like this like gap through here. Just make sure you're sharp on the horn button and not this. I'm not sure, kind of thinking this is the sharpest thing and not this, but I could be totally mistaken. But I always want to make that the sharpest, the center, the horn, the badge, the whatever, because that's where your eye is going to look. Again, this is a little bit brightly exposed. Not going to repeat myself about the CPL, but CPL would help. And then again, the framing, we're really close to the edge. It would be a little bit stronger if we had more room to breathe on the right and on the bottom. Like I said, I like this. I love that intense yellow-green color. The color grade on the car, very, very blue. I would love to see it warmer. I always want to see it warmer, but cool detail of the headlight through the leaves. So work great as a crop, works as is. And this is very similar. Now, this is, I think, getting closer to the level of exposure I want. I think there's some selective color thing. I think you kind of took the color out of a lot of channels, or a lot of the different hues, leaving very little. But I like this daytime running light shape, how dramatic that looks. The grill also is looking good. This is a nice shot. Like, I love the wet street scene. Good colors, better framing. Not I know this one's like dead center, so but it's not too close to the edge. We got enough interest in the scene that we can see. I like the depth of field. There's like part of my brain that's concerned about being parked on the double yellow line, but I do like what the color brings to it. Sorry if this was particularly harsh or anything. I think you're on the right track. So keep at it. Thank you so much, Pat. Francisco. Now this is an extreme modified car. So these are very similar. I'm gonna maybe. This is like melting my brain how modified this car is. Like, it is. The stance is unreal. This is commitment to the theme. The lavender. Look at that. It honestly, I mean, I like this generation Lexus IS. And so I'm like a big defender of these. And then to see it where the wheels are just so cambered and it's like, I'm just saying that this design language of the lighting and how everything's like pulled to the corners is so insane looking with this wheel fitment and the lowness. Like, it is, like I said, it is breaking my brain. It looks like the car is like oozing into the ground, and I mean this in a good way. Like, it is stretching my sense of physics. So let's take a look at these. There is no polarizer that's going to help this. This is like a chrome mirrored windshield. Compared to all of these, I think this is kind of a tough perspective to be shooting from. The sun is just like bouncing off of the front of the car. So you might have to relocate. Look at that rear wheel. It is crazy. Very nice shallow depth field. Really, really pretty backgrounds. It's so dreamy. Fits this dreamlike pearlescent lavender. I like this. I like your composition. I like the framing. This car is insane. We're a little bit closer to the edge here than we are, say, here. But I like this background a lot. It's so fluffy, the trees. Great exposure here. Good tones. Good crop. That's a good place to crop. We kind of see any of this corner is the focal point. We can see the lights, we see the badge, we see this grill. This one, the color edit, I don't know, it's more greenish versus the yellowish, orangey yellow autumny of this. This one is kind of a harsher green. And that might just be the direction you're shooting relative to the sun. But yeah, I like the elevated perspective. And here's a different location with harsher sunlight. I think we're kind of shooting a little bit into the sun, maybe kind of pushing it. But yeah, these are very confidently done, very nice. I'm sorry, I'm really thrown off by this car. It like, I totally respect it, and it's just breaking my brain, like I said. This one's more purple. This one's more intense purple. This was like softer, so maybe you could look at balancing those a little, but also if there's any kind of pearlescent to it, it maybe changes depending on perspective. So thank you so much, Francisco. Okay, this is Wagyu. And this is a drone shot of a 992. I still keep saying I have like a video about drones coming, and it's still haven't worked on it. So I like the pavement. I don't like these parking lines just because I don't think they're adding anything to it. Maybe if they were kind of like diagonal, it would be cool, but they're like kind of straight almost, but not. Likewise, this car we're not totally centered above the car, and you kind of have to be deliberate, It's like a principle of design thing. If you're going to do something, be intentional. So I've said, 4 times already today, if you're going to show the car straight on, make sure it's straight on. Doesn't have to be, but if it's going to be, if it's not straight on, make sure it is a deliberate angle. Make it look intentional. This, you can see the window here is taller looking, than it is here because of our perspective is a little bit over to the right. So I would want to make sure we're straight up and down. And then we've got this harsh sun reflection here, which maybe looks like it was reflected through clouds. So maybe you wait a minute and maybe the sun moves, or you wait an hour for a different time of day. I don't know. I really like the ground. I really like this gradient, the grittiness, all the lines. And I think these parking lines and numbers could work as an element, but right now they're just there. They're not helping. And so if they're not helping, they are kind of hurting the composition, unfortunately. Colors are exposed. I like the warmth of the image. The red really pops. Top down on cars looks really cool. You just want to get it, make sure it's straight. And if you're doing a top down in a car, the background is everything that is parked on top of. So think about that, and that can aid the composition. So just think about that a little bit more. Thank you so much for sending that. Kael Garcia sent these. I think this should be maybe a tighter crop. I think what I like most about the image is the wheel detail, kind of the reflection highlight around the fender on this 911 fender, and the reflection of the wheel, cup one. The wheel reflection is cool. So maybe if there was a crop, if we got closer in, I think that the other 911 parked behind it is not helping things. So I either want to be lower, or if we stood higher and could see more of the white 911, it might be cool. Colors are a little weird. I feel like there's like some blueness in this wheel that I don't know. And also the wheel seems a little overexposed. So I just said that's my favorite part is the wheel, but it's overexposed. But there's potential here. I think it is cool detail, lit very cool. Maybe cropping somehow could be an interesting thing. Colors are a little odd to me though. It's like kind of sepia, but this looks blue. So I'm not sure what we can do. This is such a sepia edit. I like the visual motion of the cars. Like they're similar color. We're not totally centered up on the rear of the 912, and that's fine because it's intentional. It looks like it's turning and this car's following it, which I like that. The sepia edit I'm not crazy about. It kind of looks like there was some clarity. It's really crunchy, kind of that haloing around there. I would like to see a less heavy edit here, and then maybe we've got something there, just something a little more natural. I like these two cars together. Yeah, I think that's enough. Okay. Sergei. Oh my, that's a lot of photos. Cool. Yes. Okay, well, these are really similar, so. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I like that. No, weird crop. uh, too close to the bottom. Weird stuff in front of the wheel. Yeah, that's the good stuff. Yeah. I don't like the poles. Oh yeah, that's amazing. And yeah, really dark. What a story this tells. Look at this. It's just like it's a short film we're watching. My loud ass keyboard clacking. Just like the progression into day and night. Dials photos, which is better. This is a tack, but like I don't know. I don't like that this is blurry. I like this, but here we've got even more kind of bokeh foreground stuff. I don't notice that these aren't sharp. I'm kind of looking at the odometer and everything. So this is the stronger one. Yeah, this is not my favorite wheel shot. Let's kill it. Love this. Okay, so I just jumped in and said what I liked, said what I didn't. This is a cool shot, but this kind of is almost unspectacular compared to a lot of what we just looked at. There is that's a great crop. Dramatic color grade, but it's really consistent throughout all the photos. You can see this kind of this blues. This one might need to be a little bit warmer. And this is fine, kind of weird as a vertical. What I would like to do is shoot kind of upward, like get really low and shoot upward at a sticker or something that's flat like this rather than looking down on it. Love this steering wheel shot through the window framing. Great detail. We looked at these. This is so cool. And like we've got the moon there and then this point in the livery that is directly below these trees that really stand out. So I really like this shot. This should be like a magazine cover. Good shot. Kind of weird where it's parked, just because it looks like it's off. So maybe if it was turned a little less, if it was a little bit more head on with us. And then this one, the colors are not quite the same as the others. And I'm sure it was not possible to get higher up, but if the car was like one car length back, maybe, I don't know, there's probably more stuff blocking the road behind it also. But I was thinking if the car's a little further back, maybe we get a clear shot of it. And these are awesome shots, although there's like a weird reverse vignette here. But yeah, look at this. Look at the drama. Look at the warmth, the sky, the orange and blue, and the road. This super wide shot for a action shot like this is extra killer. You just have so much movement in the road and sense of speed. So these are really stunning. This is a great set. But yeah, I like the color grade, but if you're just with however many photos, 17 photos, and I illuminated like 5. Yeah, I don't know. I'd want to try to keep it more consistent. We've got like greener side, bluer side, greener, bluer again. I don't know, maybe balance a little bit, but I'm nitpicking. I really like these. You got a great eye, great perspectives, and I really like the variety here of details and wide shots. So thank you so much, Sergei. Okay, Michael. Okay, so these are all like very professional looking photos. So I don't know if Michael needs my 2 cents. Look at the softness of the reflections and just how crystal like that headlight looks is nicely done. I really like your highlights, reflections, the highlights on the hood. I'm not super crazy with these stripes, how close they get to the car, and maybe if I think if you step back, zoomed in more, it would widen the space a little bit. And there's also kind of a blue cast to this. I would almost rather see this just be black and white rather than blue and white, but beautiful exposure, great angle, great perspective and scene and contrast like that. All right, we've got a 5 series here, vanishing point framing, really like that. Roof line not too close to this line. That's something I'd kind of look for. I don't know, there's kind of like a nasty, kind of like putrid color to this roadway, and I would maybe want to take some color out of that, like take out some of the yellow out of kind of the whole curb and roadway, kind of nasty greenish. And then, I don't know, this glowing here looks like it's about to drive like to heaven. It's like go towards the light. But car is exposed really well. Taillights are really cool. Got just a great highlight and everything. Cool scene and great framing. This is awesome. Love the red, that background, just how perfectly straight it is, perfectly straight the background is, really dramatic, and it's a neat car that we don't get these Peugeots here. So I have nothing to add. This is an awesome shot. And look at this. This is so kind of sinister looking to me. I don't know if it is, but I really love how like it's just so we see that finish and we're looking up at it. It's a very imposing perspective, and then the building, like all of this stuff is in shadow. It's just really cool framing. Like creates a cool negative space. A negative, like dark, recessed space where this is and this is behind it. It really makes this pop, and it's framed really interesting. And I like this glow on the headlights. I don't know if that's real, but it's totally working for me. So thank you so much, Michael. Oh, is it Michiel? Is it okay? Now we have Michiel. All right, I said Michael. It might be Michiel. It might be something else. Thank you.